Yo, check this out. This is Wayne Wonder, representing for Warieka LTV. You see the vision, don't it? See the vision. Warieka LTV. Keep it locked.
No, I'm gonna tell you. We as bloggers, these are the issues that we need to address. You understand what I said? You see? Set the path for the youth them. Share, like, and subscribe and stay tuned to the channel because I don't know all this shit. Yes, I. Greetings once again at the mighty name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I I, and all things that's good. You see it? Welcome all viewers and subscribers. See? And I find a story I want to bring to the item and expound upon some more. See? It's gonna be long. It's a read. See? Because of some research some white man do. See? I'm gonna bring back to the item. But in so doing, I want to say R.I.P. to Lee Scratch Perry. See? What a legend of my reggae music. See? And many more like him, both past and alive. See? And we want to say to the item, the one that was still alive, we want to take the opportunity right now to say, teach the youth them want to know and stop being selfish with the experience them want to gather, the things them want to suffer for learn Rasta. And enough to sit down and watch the youth them suffer them same mistake today. That's evil, that's hypocrisy. In the highest form, we not facilitate the same slave agenda that made them into the poverty-stricken people that we are today. See, even though it's not a sin, it's not a crime, really. You see, it's more of a crime to be rich these days because the thing that we have to do for maintain that normal. You know, see, so we still lay a heavy burden and a whole heap of blame on the man them who selfishly know what them know on their one side. I think it's a black thing. Once you know something, you feel like say that is power, pulling power for you, not for the power, you know, see the power more universal. You know, see the power there, you see the individual power, the selfishness by yourself where it value to you. You know, that kill this nasty mentality there as black people. If we not stamp that out, we're not gonna wear Rasta. You know, see, and as long as we have that monkey there on we back, nothing what we are not gonna wear. Anyway, me just because that story I make me big time, you know. You know, see it. Come here, read and continue. You know, see it. So I'm on quality of reading. You don't know, it might not be up to some of the item standard, but it picks out, sense out and nonsense and get free. Grasp what I deal. You know, see it. Introduction. The 100 million reggae robbery. Investigation revealed how France-based intellectual property lawyer Andre Bertrand and John Morris Smith, ex-director of British company Defiant Publishing, fought on behalf of reggae stars such as Jimmy Cliff, Sly and Robbie, Max Romeo, Bunny Lee, and Winston McAnuff. McKinnoff. Yes. You know, see, to recoup revenue from record labels such as Island, Virgin, Trojan, and Culture Press. Now, if people say Island or only for reggae, you know, more time you say a man had a good fee, you know, you have to wonder what it profit or benefit him. Anyway, I could continue. Morris Smith and Bertram also claimed that collection societies in France had entered into secret and unlawful agreement that made it almost impossible for a Jamaican musician to collect monies owed to them. That means there's a national plan in the seat of government involved in this. Them get backing, so them have certain security, so them not forgive. Them not under no pressure, no criminal pressure, no criminal consequence for pay up Jamaican people money. You don't see it. France is a thief, you know. The French is a perpetual vampire upon black people back in Rasta. I'm not asking, you know. It's evident. And them dead with them like say well in the rest of the world of blood clot that we now watch on the Rasta. You don't see it. Anyway, we could continue. Over the next few years, Morris Smith's partnership with Bertrand helped establish several precedents in European law. Below are some of their achievements. Morris Smith helped to administer over 1.4 million euro, 2 million, around 2 million pound in litigation settlements to more than 240 reggae artists. French Collection Society, Adami, agreed to pay around 970,000 to 250 reggae artists for the broadcasting of their music on French TV and radio between 1993 and 2005. Thieving company that name Adami in Jamaica, want to be careful of it. A criminal them, I don't hear it further down in the story. You see it? Yes, I. You don't even know. The Court of Paris ruled against Virgin parent company EMI and fined the label for featuring songs on a compilation CD released in France, Absolute Reggae, without permission from either artist or producer. The same court ordered Culture Press, run by Enzo Hamilton, to pay damages of £40,000 to Romeo, $10,200 to Mackinoff, $1,500 to Lee, and impose a penalty of £6,800, €10,000 for every album the French record company sold without permission after May 2005. So it's like the society shamedly and, reservedly take more money from the whole law breaking than where the artists them get. Seeing, because basically them get the amount where the highest paid artists get. Them get that for each album. Essentially, that's so. You see it? We'll make we continue. Wow. Bertram won a court action stopping British label Trojan Records from selling the DVD Bob Marley Live in France after he discovered the surviving members of Marley Wailers band was not receiving any revenues for its sale. A France-based intellectual property lawyer is spearheading a campaign for reggae artists to recoup up to 100 million of unpaid royalty and publishing payments. In November 2003, attorney Archer Andre Bertram won a court action to stop British reggae label Trojan selling a Bob Marley after realizing members of the band wasn't receiving any revenue. He told Bashment Vibes that is a victory for us because it created precedents in France, and the French market is much larger than the British market. Every day I'm discovering more reggae albums which have been licensed without the artists or producers knowing about it. In Jamaica, most artists, musicians, and producers claim not have received their fair share of monies due to them through royalties and publishing rights. But how is this possible? Reggae's popularity is undisputable, and Jamaican music is sold all over the world and used in TV adverts to sell everything from washing powder to margarine. Since 1964, when Millie Small reached #2 in the UK chart with My Boy Lollipop, international reggae record labels and companies have made millions selling reggae. However, despite the genre's commercial appeal, only a small percentage of these profits filter back down to the original music makers. To understand why most Jamaican musicians end up penniless, it is necessary to take a brief look at the history of the business. Despite the recent success of dancehall acts such as Beenie Man, Sean Paul, and Elephant Man, the majority of reggae music sold globally were recorded between 1958 and 1978. During this period, the industry was crude and unsophisticated. Producers auditioned acts if they were good. The artist would record a song, receive a one-off payment, and then wait for the track to be played at a local event. If it was popular, the artist earned money performing at concerts, and the producer made a small profit selling the records in Jamaica. Revenues were small. Producers rarely made contracts with artists, and very few kept a detailed list of their productions. This is the fundamental problem. That means that some man now make a record, a list, document the song them when record, produce, and release, and them type of thing there. Is the fundamental problem. Most of their music were released as 7-inch singles, but as reggae became more popular in the late 1960s, producers began licensing their songs to US, British and European labels who compiled, repackaged, and sold them as albums. Over the past 40 years, these albums have sold hundreds of millions of copies, but very few artists benefited financially as they either unknowingly signed away their rights or never signed a contract at all. The contracts where artists signed away their rights forever would not stand up in a court today, but without expensive legal assistance. Jamaican musicians face an uphill battle to recoup the money they have been cheated out of. So Jamaica itself as a country can afford the legal assistance. So them youth in need, and it could have easily formulated that as a group effort. You know, see, so that everybody eat what them for eat after the group package and lie get what them forget when it's done. Get for them percentage. You have all of them type of cases over here now with no fee type claim. You understand what I say? So it's a thing where our Jamaican lucky, them, we say our leaders, I work with all them people here too. Them good, I just phone them and say, yo, me say that here, we are organized to come at you with some liar. What you can do for me? You see it? And a company just send a lobbyist go down to go give them a check, and them just push it under the cover and bad up, send police go to government badness man, the institution that was attempting to claim something for Jamaica as a whole. This is our politician, them in a nutshell, without a doubt. You get what I say? And then we kill you before admitting or attempting to clear up them sort of misappropriation. Yeah? You see? Yes, I would not stand up in a court today. Normally, musicians receive a small percentage from each single or album sold by the record company and earn additional income every time their music is played on TV or radio. Revenue from these public broadcasts is gathered together by collection societies and redistributed to the artists. But in the case of reggae, many record companies and collection societies have collected royalty but failed to pay out. You see, two of the biggest financial losers include Max Romeo, who is owned by British record labels, and Jimmy Cliff, owned by collection societies in Europe. As a star of the cult film that introduced Jamaican culture to international audience, The Harder They Come, Above, and writer of classics such as Many Rivers to Cross, and You Can Get It If You Really Want. Cliff is widely acknowledged as the world's most famous living reggae artist. However, in France, arguably Europe's biggest reggae consumer, although various societies have collected money on his behalf, Cliff has received only a small percentage of the money he is owed. In 1997, an official audit by France's Minister of Finance uncovered major discrepancies in the organization and operation of the country's collection societies. Adami. No. All of them things, you know, come like if other people don't find them and talk about them and put them in a newspaper, you'd never hear them type of thing from our artists. Like them consider it as a shame, a disgrace, an embarrassment. You understand what I say? Like a for them fault, the mistake where they make is entirely their fault and them don't want nobody know. That's why them guys keep getting away with them things, because who would assume that Jimmy Cliff under them pressure you get them level of robbery from Europe? Who would assume these things? Just because the sake of pride and personal ego where a man want to feel and act like he want the best and him better than everybody else and him now feel belly in the earth him when he want shit like the other man. Is that mentality there why which stagnate the growth? Any growth of black people try introduce Rasta because you got this stinking pride where them put in front of them like some big idiot. You know see it hurt I, not for the sake of say some guy feel for make for them one go to waste. But for the facts of well in the future and what it mean to Jamaica, what it mean to the youth them, we're not born yet. You know see it? What it mean to the society and a whole. You know see it? The players and the operator them in the system do all of the donkey work and give it all of them work for nothing and sit down there with it. Make the guy them thief them effort and sit down there. You know farm, you know cancel, you know have an organized group where I make a loud noise in Jamaica about this what going on. Everybody draw one side secretly if you know ask them in a year. And I feed, hey, me say, hey. 3 years later, An inquest into Adami's affair revealed that while the organization claimed to have paid around $108,200 to 20 artists residing in Jamaica, Cliff was the only artist to receive any money, and that was only a fraction of what he was due. So Jamaica it's not a real place. Adami has collected revenue on behalf of the Bob Marley estate, Burning Spear, Sly and Robbie, Freddie McGregor, Horace Andy, Romeo and countless other artists since 1986. Bertram believes at least $2 million has been diverted from these artists with the full knowledge of the French government. Similarly, Romeo claimed to have received hardly any royalties from Island Records for his album Warieka Babylon, which has sold more than 1.5 million copies since 1976 and includes the frequently sampled single Chase the Devil. But I'm going to tell you, despite numerous attempts to contact representatives from Island Records and Adami, no one from either organization responds to our calls and emails. You see, that's flagrant disregard for the human rights and the Jamaican society and a whole. You see it. Sure. In 2003, intellectual property lawyer Andre Bertram went to court in France on Romeo's behalf in a case against Universal Records, the parent company of Island Records, which claimed to own the album. The court ruled the exploitation of Warieka Babylon without a proper contract was unlawful, and the case will be reopened in November 2004 to ascertain who produced LP. Romeo is pleased that Bertrand had taken up the battle on behalf of Jamaican singers. He told Bashment Vibes, "I think it's a brilliant idea that somebody is coming to our rescue because over the years we have gone through hard times knowing we have written music that is recognized all over the world, but no money is coming to us." Now, if Bertram was black and is a Jamaican, he would have taken the bribe long time and run gone, because I feel no way, all of them companies attempt to bribe Bertram to push this under the carpet, because I would them, instead of Jamaican, them don't know where you know for push the effort where you push. But Bertram know his name is gonna be remembered, might not know, but gonna be remembered as an active participant in the recuperation of reggae music, early reggae singers' royalties, as the moderator of the financial aspect of reggae music. He's gonna be known, has to be. See, some of us are living like dogs, he added. It's terrible, but I am happy to know Andre is handling the situation. In the early days, Jamaican singers and songwriters were naive to the copyright situation. Only a few of us were exposed to the copyright law and things like that, and kept it secret. Said that to know, even to this day, nobody who has been through the experience and educate nobody Rasta. See it, unless them come sign for them. Yeah. Unless you come sign with your life to me, like what them did do me. Me not teach you not when me know I administer anything for your benefit. See it. It's just a dog eat dog damn world. See it. Sure. Only a few of us were exposed to copyright laws and things like that. So record labels and others took our songs, acted as if they were the writers, arrangers, and producers, and shouldered us out. Another case Bertram is fighting involved the compilation CD Absolute Reggae, released in 2001 by EMI in France. The album includes singer Johnny Clark's cover of Declaration of Rights and MPLA by 1970s rapper David Tapazuki Sinclair. Previously, EMI subsidiary Virgin Records claimed Zuki's music had not sold enough copies to generate any royalties. However, midway through the trial, the rapper received a £500 royalty check from the label, his first in more than a decade. Similarly, Virgin claimed to have produced Clark's Declaration of Rights, but 2 months ago, a French court acknowledged Edouard Bonilly as the producer and awarded him $4,000. Bertram said the ruling, all them guys shouldn't be able to even come back in the country so them produce anything reggae done by authentic black people. Shouldn't. No, sir. closest should have can come to black people doing a reggae should have been like a mixed race youth a work or a look at a bus and say my sing we don't know being unknowledgeable of the item reputation. Closest, no black youth should have been educated enough to be aware of these companies and their role in the deprivation of reggae music. You know, see. Similarly, Virgin claimed to have produced Clark's Declaration of Right, but 2 months ago, a French court acknowledged Edouard Bonnelly as the producer and awarded him $4,000. Bertram said the ruling is significant because it established a figure $4,000 for the reproduction of a song on a compilation without the permission of the producer or artist. He claimed 2 of Clark's songs featured on Absolute Reggae appeared on at least 10 other compilations and believed the singer is owed around £40,000 for the unauthorized use of his music. Jamaican producers are often criticized and accused of either not paying artists or conning them out of royalties. However, Lee below confirms that many were themselves duped by major labels because you were trying to dupe the artist themselves. You never have any good intention for the artist. He says, how can the producer be a robber? We come from a tiny Caribbean island. We never knew about things like publishing. These guys had their lawyers and accountants and would ask us to sign blank contracts. Who does that? Who does that? Stop lying, man. Cha. We signed and took the little £200 because we wanted to go back to Jamaica and make more music. Then the next time you see the contract, it's marked in perpetuity. We never knew that meant we'd sign away our music forever. When we realized what was going on, it was too expensive to take out an injunction. And they knew we couldn't do that because we were only visiting England for a little while. In 1980, singer, producer, and broadcaster pioneer Michael Mikey J. Campbell. Listen, somebody break the law in our country, yeah? Somebody wrong you in our country. No matter where you're in the world, the crime still happen and the trial still exists. The process is gonna happen. See? Now, the society will send back for you, man. If the guy no want to plead guilty and say yes him do it, the society will send back for you each time. Pay your plane for you, make you come to. See him come a court, put you up. But other guy they have to go pay for all of the costs here. Society now pay for it. So now they talk about cars on Jamaica and come from, to England and come from, and only a visit. Start the rascal case process Rasta. When you see foreign people come down there, come give witness all the while. Like Jamaica send for them come down there, you know. What kind of stupidity this? It's unacceptable. It's and a guy talk about Max show me a liar blood clot tell you know what them thing I go. Can't come spread them bag of rubbish to Jamaican people these days, yeah. We not accept that Rasta. We don't accept that Rasta. You know, see it. Bunny Lee or where you want to name. You know, see it. However, yeah, we don't take that Mr. Lee. A lie you tell. You're a robber. You know, see it. You can't tell me that. But take £200 and go back when you come back, you say you're signing a perpetuity. You know where you are, do man. And just because you eat that and you realize the stupidity, the error of your ways now because it come published. Back in the day, you never expected it to come public. Obviously, you think of the £200 that and eat that on a good on a gun. Nobody now hear about it. Now it becomes a disgrace to the intelligence back then. See, you no want to admit so you was a robber. And you just look at one day and yam food thing. So no sell out on the birthright and now no see so no birthright value millions and I play a dummy and I go on like you never know one I don't know. Go with that. You can come tell me that. In 1980, singer, producer and broadcaster pioneer Michael Mikey J. Campbell produced the UK top 20 single Bank Robber for British punk band The Clash. But after several bad experiences with labels, he decided to go to university to study copyright law and music contracts. Campbell says he will never again be fooled into signing away the rights to his music. He told Bashment Vibes, I am more educated now and have learned how contracts are written, what is mine and what belongs to the record company. There are certain words like in perpetuity and relinquish that people should know about. I am afraid of those words because I know what they mean. In the contract for my first album with Trojan Record, It said I gave them the rights to manufacture and sell my record in any form now known as hereafter devised. I crossed that out because I thought, if it is not available yet, why should I grant you the right to transfer my music to a different format? That was in 1979. And it was the best thing I ever did because now I have the right to release my music on CD, MP3, and any other downloading format that's available. And if Trojan or anyone else try to put out my music on CD, I will sue them. Bertrand is engaged in actions against Virgin on behalf of Uri, Mighty Diamonds, and the Gladiators. All three acts recorded hugely popular albums for the label throughout the 1970s, but the label claimed none have sold enough to generate any royalty payments. Bertrand disagrees. I have the sales figures, and those guys are all selling albums by the thousands around the world, he said. John Reed, General Manager, Special Market at Trojan Sanctuary Record. This is a difficult and multifaceted subject which is both sensitive and difficult to answer succinctly. Most Trojan recordings were, of course, made in Jamaica. In many instances, the producers claim ownership of these recordings, even if they have been assigned to Trojan in perpetuity. Our position has been, on the whole, to accept this view. The producer, owner, would usually be accountable to the artist in terms of royalty. However, it is our experience that this really happens. So we have agreed to pay artists a royalty for their recording, which are effectively under exclusive license to Trojan Sanctuary. I have met with dozens of Trojan artists and producers in our bid to deal with such issues, and will continue to do so. Further, we will actively encourage any artist to approach us with this in mind. Daryl Rushton, head of royalties at Virgin Record. Tapazuki have always been accounted to by Virgin Record. He regularly gets sent statement and receive a check from us in April last year. The Mighty Diamonds album Right Time and Ice on Fire have regularly been accounted to lead singer Fitzroy Simpson. The last accounting for December 2003 sales sent in March 2004 showed the account to be unrecouped. Johnny Clark has been sent statement regardless, but these have been sent back to us. As we have no forwarding address, we have held on to the money which is owed. We are not willing to disclose the sum to you. Despite numerous attempts to contact representatives from Island Record, no one responded to our calls and emails. See? Reggae pioneer Bunny Lee produced many of the tracks featured on Absolute Reggae, a CD compilation released in 2001 by EMI in France, but says the music was included without his permission. EMI claims to have licensed the disputed tracks from a company called Culture Press via the label Charlie Records. Lee insisted EMI contract must be a forgery, as the only contract he signed for these tracks was with Isoldon, a predecessor to Culture Press, in 1991. Lee says he notified Enzo Hamilton, the owner of Isoldon, Culture Press, and a former Trojan Record executive, when the contract expired on 25 of January 2001. To add insult to injury, French Collection Society, SCPC, has been paying Lee's royalty to Culture Press. France-based intellectual property lawyer Andre Birch and his convinced collection societies in Europe have entered into secret and unlawful agreement that make it difficult, if not impossible, for Jamaican artists and producers to collect the monies owed to them. He has brought a complaint expressing his concern before the European Commission and is suing collection societies across Europe for failing to redistribute revenue back to Jamaicans. Bertrand's primary action will take place against French Collection Society, Adami, and SCPC, which he claimed deliberately deprived Jamaicans of their royalty. He believes if his actions are successful, they could start receiving millions every year in legal remuneration. And that's just in France. Bertram says all figures are rigged. They collect money for everyone's music that is played on radio, but then say we are not giving money back to artists whose records were made in America, and we are not paying Jamaicans their equitable remuneration. In the end, they collected 100%, but only pay out about 20 to 30%, mostly to Frenchmen. Bertrand's clients include Bonnie Whaler, John Holt, Bob Andy, and Marcia Griffiths. As reggae homosexual female vocalist and a member of Bob Marley's Whalers band, or I-Trees, Griffith is owed $1,000 in unpaid royalty. She told Bashment Vibes the royalty situation for us as Jamaican artists has been a constant source of frustration over the years. The classics of Jamaican music have sold all over the world, yet far too often we don't receive any compensation from the record companies that release and re-release our work from back in the day. Andre Bertrand has been showing us what we have been missing out on in Europe. The fight to recoup what's due is one of the best and the most important thing happening in the reggae music industry today. Under European law, artists, producers, and musicians are supposed to receive a fee from the sale of every song and album, compensating them for private copying when the public records from TV or radio. With the advent of new digital record format, Bertrand predicts that in France, the amount collected in 2004 for private copying could exceed 150 million. However, he will have to work hard if Jamaican artists are to receive their fair share of that money. Bertrand says, take Spedidam, another French collection society. For instance, in 2002, they collected £10.7 million. They had about 1.5 million in admin costs, redistributed 4.3 million and gave away 4.7 million for their own cultural events. Only 45% were allocated to artists, but allocated doesn't mean paid. Artists only receive half of the allocated revenue. This is so immense, and it's the same in Germany and many other European countries. Bertrand believed that until a centralized list comprising every reggae song is compiled and regularly updated, Jamaican artists will continue to be defrauded of their copyright revenue. He also wants to reduce the time it takes for artists to receive payments. At present, it can take up to 2 years for a payment made to a collection society in France to be sent to the MCPS in England. Only then is the payment forwarded to the Jamaican musician. If Bertrand is successful, artists and producers in developing countries all over the world will benefit. He says Jimmy Cliff is getting around £2,000 a year, but the problem is that 80% of that money that comes from one song, which he sang with a French guy. Cliff has more than 500 songs in his repertoire and is only receiving maybe £2 a year for his most famous tracks. If we win, it will change the structure of the music business, and legal remuneration will become a very important part of the money generated for the benefit of the artist and the musician. You know, see, yes, I give thanks. And that's what I'm concerned there, because I'm going to look on it and I say, all of these lessons were lost. I can't see it another way. It's like basically the man them where suffer them trauma, yeah. Just make it slide. And you know, hear nothing more about it. And the wickedest thing about it, why them a keep quiet and I suffer in a silence. The guy them make them suffer, I create new victims, and that is all victims watch and make greater and greater success year by year. And the old victim them sit down there and watch new victim and get recruited and live the same shame every year where them live, because it's like them tell themselves, so I mean, think I know me alone, that fear to. That fear some I want to, I want to think of me alone I suffer. Come on. Like a shameful, dirty, petty mentality the Rasta. I hold back an entire race of people. Anyway, I man give thanks. Share, like, and subscribe in Rastafari name. See? Rastafari.